The war did not begin with gunfire, but with silence. Europe held its breath as tensions quietly tightened everywhere. Years of unresolved grievances shaped decisions long before armies moved. Economic collapse and humiliation fueled dangerous political ambitions. Nations rebuilt armies while publicly promising peace and stability. Rearmament advanced under the cover of treaties and loopholes. Borders drawn after the last war remained deeply contested, prone of the demand. Each concession postponed conflict but increased future stakes. Diplomacy slowed while military preparations quietly accelerated. Intelligence reports warned that delay favored aggressive expansion. Alliances formed defensively, yet trust between partners remained fragile. Smaller nations sensed danger, but lacked power to resist. Mobilization plans existed, but political hesitation delayed activation. Public speeches promised peace, while generals prepared contingency scenarios. The balance between deterrence and provocation grew increasingly unstable. Each diplomatic summit bought time, not resolution. Military exercises grew larger, closer, and more deliberate. Propaganda reshaped public opinion, normalizing the idea of conflict. Fear spread quietly, even as daily life appeared unchanged. Ultimatums were drafted, revised, and deliberately delayed. Behind closed doors, timelines narrowed toward inevitability. Command structures synchronized plans across land, sea, and air. Civil defense preparations hinted leaders expected imminent violence. Neutrality declarations masked fear rather than confidence. The final diplomatic window closed without meaningful compromise. Troops received sealed orders awaiting a single trigger event. Interior worlds, railways prepared for movement under civilian cover. The soap-burned-in airfields transitioned from training to operational readiness. The world sensed something irreversible approaching, yet no one knew exactly when the first shot would fall. History stood poised between peace preserved and war unleashed. The moment approached without announcements or warnings. Decisions made earlier now escaped political control. Events overtook intentions faster than diplomacy could react. The final hours passed in uneasy calm. Then the war finally began. The war truly began when borders were crossed before dawn. Orders long prepared were finally released without public warning. Armored columns advanced silently, engines muffled by darkness. Air power struck first, targeting communication and command centers. The objective was speed, not prolonged confrontation. Surprise collapsed defensive coordination within critical early hours. In Propos, civilian populations awoke to a war already underway. Rail networks became arteries for rapid military expansion. Defending forces were overwhelmed before full mobilization occurred. Air superiority ensured uninterrupted ground advances. Strategic deception masked true invasion axes effectively. Communications failed, isolating frontline commanders completely. Resistance emerged sporadically, courageous but poorly coordinated. Cities fell, faster than diplomatic protests could form. The invasion relied on momentum more than numerical superiority. Psychological shock paralyzed political leadership temporarily. The purpose returned. Emergency meetings convened as reports grew increasingly dire. Ultimatums arrived after forces were already advancing. Allies realized commitments now demanded immediate action. Declarations of war followed invasion, not preceded of war. The neutrality collapsed as geography made avoidance impossible. Refugee flows signaled the conflict's irreversible escalation. The conflict expanded beyond initial political expectations. The military doctrine proved decisive against unprepared defenses. Speed replaced negotiation as the primary strategic tool. International reaction lagged behind battlefield realities. Initial success encouraged broader territorial ambitions. Civil defense measures activated too late to matter. The first invasion shattered illusions of limited conflict. What began regionally now threatened continental stability. The war demanded choices nations could no longer avoid. Mobilization orders expanded across multiple countries simultaneously. Industry pivoted rapidly from civilian to military production. The invasion marked a permanent shift in global power. Diplomacy now followed the battlefield, not the opposite. World War II had fully begun. What began as invasion quickly demanded decisions far beyond regional borders. Major powers now faced a choice between action and collapse. Declarations followed rapidly, removing any remaining illusion of containment. Mobilization spread like fire through interconnected alliances worldwide. Military industries shifted instantly toward total wartime production. Neutral nations discovered geography offered no true protection. The conflict expanded into skies, seas, and distant territories. Colonies and overseas holdings were drawn into the struggle. Supply lines stretched across oceans, becoming strategic lifelines. Naval clashes escalated beyond early expectations. Air raids introduced civilians to warfare's new reality. Civilian populations became direct participants in total war. The concept of limited war collapsed entirely. With economies reorganized around sustained, massive military output. Scientific research accelerated under urgent wartime pressure. Propaganda unified populations while suppressing dissenting voices. Post-Maoist governments expanded authority to control resources and information. Front lines multiplied faster than commanders could fully manage. Battles erupted simultaneously across continents and oceans. Local victories and defeats now carried global consequences. Strategic priorities shifted constantly under evolving threats. Smaller nations lost autonomy amid overpowering global forces. Diplomatic channels narrowed as military necessity dominated. Technological innovation accelerated the scale of destruction. Total war erased distinctions between front lines and homelands. Every decision now influenced millions far beyond commanders' sight. Time compressed as campaigns unfolded at unprecedented speed. Human cost escalated beyond any previous conflict. Global supply, manpower, and morale became decisive weapons. Victory now depended on endurance rather than swift triumph. The war reshaped political systems and international relations permanently. Neutrality disappeared as the world divided into opposing camps. The conflict scale exceeded all initial assumptions. World War II had become truly global. Informations, no nation remained untouched by its consequences. The world was now fully at war. The invasion's aftermath forced nations to confront irreversible consequences. Early victories reshaped confidence and emboldened further aggression. Defeated defenses revealed fatal weaknesses in pre-war assumptions. Military success accelerated demands for broader strategic objectives. Political leaders struggled to regain control over unfolding events. The war quickly outpaced original diplomatic intentions. National resources were redirected entirely toward sustained warfare. Building civil liberties contracted under emergency wartime powers. Propaganda hardened resolve while suppressing internal dissent. Wife the Froon, the home front became inseparable from distant battlefields. Neutrality vanished as alliances solidified into opposing camps. Global trade routes transformed into strategic battlegrounds. Naval warfare expanded beyond traditional rules and boundaries. Air power redefined the vulnerability of cities worldwide. Civilian casualties escalated as total war intensified. Military innovation accelerated to gain decisive advantages. Scientific breakthroughs became instruments of survival and dominance. Manpower demands reshaped societies and demographics permanent. The scale of destruction surpassed all previous human conflicts. Victory conditions shifted toward endurance rather than swift triumph. War aims evolved continuously as circumstances changed unpredictably. International law struggled to keep pace with realities, and occupied territories experienced repression, resistance, and uncertainty. Resistance movements emerged despite overwhelming military pressure. The war's brutality hardened attitudes on all sides. Negotiated peace became increasingly unimaginable. The conflict reshaped global power structures irreversibly. Colonial empires weakened under prolonged military strain. New superpowers began emerging from wartime mobilization. The war redefined diplomacy, security, and international cooperation. Institutions formed later to prevent such devastation again, yet the scars of war persisted long after fighting ceased. Memory and trauma became lasting legacies of global conflict. The war's beginning set humanity on an altered path. What started quietly reshaped the entire modern world. The Second World War had changed everything forever.